Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Jem. My name is Nazwa Rizaldi, and I'm from 9.3. So today for the Achi program, I will be telling you guys about a tutorial on how to start a new hobbies, and that was reading. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. So as you guys know, the numbers of readers in Indonesia has decreased over the past few years, and the interest in reading in Indonesia has decreased over time, and this cannot be ignored. Even though the time has developed and everything can be accessed through gadgets or social media, reading skills still has to be concerned. And this is because there are so many people falling over hoaxes because they don't read something correctly, or they seem to ignore something that they should read carefully. So I am here to be teaching you guys on how to develop a reading interest for the younger generation in Indonesia. So the first thing first, you have to know what books you want to read. For example, I have this book right here. This is called Circe, and this is a Greek mythology retelling. So this is about Greek mythology, but I won't recommend this for a beginners because it has a hard language features. So instead of that, I will recommend you this book. This is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Like every person has to know this book because this is the most popular books in the world. Like, who doesn't know Harry Potter? This is the Harry Potter books. So this is fantasy, and the language feature is not that hard compared to this book, compared to Circe's. This is like way easier to read because it's fantasy, and it is made to read by kids and teenagers, so it is recommended for beginners who want to read. And then the second one is don't push yourself over reading books, because if you read books like this thick, this is so thick, don't push yourself too hard. Like, you have to take a break after reading a few pages. You can make some tea or taking a rest with listening to music or go for a walk. Just don't push yourself because it can make you devastated and tired, and that is not good for your health. You can take a few pages per day, or the minimum is read one page per day, and that is fine. Like, there is no one forcing you to read the whole book in one day, because there are some people that capable of reading one book in one day. But if you cannot do that, just don't do that. And then the third one is finish your book before you buy another book. So these book cover are so eye-catching. Like, look at this, and look at this. This is so eye-catching, right? But you have to finish your book before buying another book, because if you buy another book just because the cover is cute, then you won't read it. Like, you will forget your previous book, and then you might have not continued it. So you have to finish your books before you buy another book. This is a tips from readers. Like, don't buy another books before you finish the previous one. And then if you read Harry Potter or Percy Jackson, like this, if you read Harry Potter or Percy Jackson, they have a remake of this book, so it has a film adaptation. And if you're interested on watching the film's adaptation, it is fine, you can watch that, because it can expand your interest in reading books. Because I think there are a lot of films adaptation of books, like not just these two, but there are a lot. And then I think it's the fourth one or the fifth one, the fourth one, I guess. If you don't want to read like the English literature, because Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, and Circe is an English literature, they just has the Indonesian translation. So this is Indonesian translation, but the original version are English, so this is included in English literature. So if you want to read Indonesian literature, you can read this, Karida Colin. So Indonesian literature has so many. There's a lot of like romance thingy, and it is very recommended because it is very cute to read. Like this one, this is Karida Colin. This is romance, and this is so good. This is written in Indonesia, and it's very easy to read because the language features is not that hard. The language features is very casual, like it uses an everyday language for the Indonesian people, so it is very recommended to read. But if you want to read a much harder one, try this. This is Laut Bercerita by Leila S. Chudori. This is recommended, but the language features is very hard for a beginners because this is about politics, so it's not very recommended for beginners. And then in case you don't want to read about fantasy, because the all of the books I am recommending is about fantasy like this, or Harry Potter like this, you can read history, self-improvement, sci-fi, philosophy, and there are many other options out there. You don't have to read fantasy if you don't want to read fantasy. Like this is fantasy, but this is not fantasy. This is called fiction. This is based on real life. Like this is based on real tragedy. So that is not a fantasy. That was a fiction. But in case you don't want to read that, you can read history and others I've mentioned before. That all of that was recommended too, but I don't have books about history or philosophy nevertheless, so I just have a lot of fantasies. So that is the book I am recommending you guys. There are a lot of books I am recommending, and you have to read all of that. This is the book I am recommending. This is, oh my god, this is the books I'm recommending. You have to read that. And I think that's it. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.